the first topic of discussion for this particular show, and that would involve the Los Angeles Lakers having agreed to a 4-year contract with the one and only JJ Redick to make him the franchise's next coach, sources told ESPN on Thursday. Redick, an ESPN NBA analyst who played 15 years in the league, met with Lakers Vice President and General Manager Rob Pelinka and owner Jeannie Buss over the weekend, and conversations on the vacancy continued throughout the week, according to sources. Pelinka offered Redick the job Thursday morning. According to sources, Redick moved into the forefront of the search a week ago after Connecticut coach Dan Hurley turned down a 6-year, $70 million contract. Again, all of that is sourced material. Now, I happen to work with Adrian Wojnarowski. He was a guest on this show last week. I can tell you right now, he's been on top of this story from day one. He was the one that broke the story about Dan Hurley being a prime candidate. He was going to be offered this job. He ultimately did get offered a 6-year, $70 million deal. One could make the argument that the Los Angeles Lakers, how bad did you really want Danny Hurley if you're only going to offer him to be the 6th highest paid coach? I mean, $11 million is $11 million. JJ Redick's getting about $8 million a year, but the bottom line is this. When you consider the fact that Monty Williams got $13 million a year from Detroit a year ago before he was let go just a few days ago, much to his blessings, by the way. Talk about getting relieved of purgatory. He should be very, very happy. It's one of those situations where I certainly can't knock him. The point is that one could easily argue, how bad did you really want Danny Hurley if that was the offer that you made him? In fact, this is what you wanted all along. I don't know whether that's true or not. Here's what I do know. I'm very happy for JJ Redick. JJ Redick and I are cool. There's no animosity between us whatsoever. I can tell you that working on First Take, he did a fabulous job. Covering the NBA for us, he did a fabulous job. Being a member of the A-Team with Doris Burke and Mike Breen, he did a fabulous job. And listen, he is no joke. Now, I know people took exception with me saying he's an acquired taste. JJ Redick would laugh at that. He would laugh at that because he knows it's true. Why do I say that? Because JJ Redick is a brilliant brother. He's smart as hell, and he does not tolerate fools, and he doesn't tolerate too much small talk. He ain't got time for all of that. That's not who he is. So when I talk about not he's an acquired taste, he's not somebody that's going to, be that personable, fraternizing with folks for no reason. There's a method to his madness and a purpose to every step he takes. That is a compliment. It is not an insult. He does not play. He is a serious, serious brother. That's who he is. That's who he has always been. And he ain't going to change for anybody. He's a real one. I got a lot of respect for JJ Redick, and I'm thankful and grateful for the job that he did, particularly on First Take, but overall ESPN. And most, if not all of us, wish him nothing but the best. However, there are people who are misconstruing some things when it comes to JJ Redick and his podcast, Mind the Game with LeBron James. So let me make it simple for folks. I'm happy for JJ Redick. I'm wishing him nothing but the best. Not that he ever would need to, but if he did, he knows he could pick up the phone and call me, and I'll do whatever I can to be of help to him because we have that kind of relationship. We cool with one another. We get along. I've never had a problem with his podcast. I had a problem with LeBron James agreeing to do the podcast. Not initially. Initially, we all celebrated it because we thought it was just going to be some podcast. But when they talked about getting into the intricacies of discussing the game of basketball, and then we started hearing noise about Darvin Ham, the former Lakers head coach, fired after their first-round series loss to the Denver Nuggets, by the way, you're saying to yourself, damn, why is it that you would choose to do the podcast at that particular time as opposed to after Darvin Ham lost the job, as opposed to once the playoffs began, or once the playoffs for the Los Angeles Lakers was over, or this summer? Why do it then? We're talking to LeBron James, not JJ Redick. JJ Redick was in the media. There was no guarantee he was going to be the next head coach of the Lakers. And if him, as an aspiring coach, used the broadcast industry to position himself for recognition purposes to get a job like the Lakers job, more power to him. Doc Rivers did it. Mark Jackson did it. There's plenty of people that have been in the broadcasting booth that ultimately found themselves in a situation facilitated by that level of exposure. There's no crime. JJ Redick did nothing wrong. And initially, the thought process was LeBron wasn't doing anything wrong until you saw Darvin Ham on a hot seat. And when you saw Darvin Ham on a hot seat, and then you saw the lingo and the verbiage and the language used in terms of them dissecting what was transpiring on a basketball court for NBA games and beyond with their Mind the Game podcast, and then ultimately Darvin Ham loses the job and JJ Redick emerges as the top candidate for the job, I mean, what's wrong with saying 1 + 1 = 2? It's not a crime to point that out. It's not a crime.